I've reached my breaking point of having to do this life thing alone. I just want to be held, nurtured, loved, cared for, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in all aspects. I want my heart and soul to be seen and held. I just can't do it alone anymore, and I'm at my breaking point. I can do it physically alone. I've been doing it, but I don't want to. I don't deserve to, because I am worthy of companionship, of community, of love, of affection, of support, of someone lifting me up, motivating me, encouraging me. I am worthy of that. So I deserve to receive that. I don't want to do it alone anymore. And I've been crying all day because of it.
It's reality.
I feel like as
it's
women,
not a point of
your
view.
reality is different than my reality. That's what I've been trying to explain to you.
You're a porn star that has a skewed perception of how the world works.
I'm a porn
You're
star,
20
so
years
I
old
have
and you
an
can't even
experience
name
with a
3
life that you have
countries.
no fucking clue about.
I feel like if you ask
shut the fuck up. Look, you have a very skewed perception of how the world really works. Men since the beginning of time have wanted women that aren't ran through. We can line up 100 dudes. 99 of them are gonna want a girl that isn't promiscuous. That's not an opinion. That's not just my worldview. That's reality. Okay? If you don't like reality, then that's too bad for you. But that's what it is. You can't
And
sit there
there's fine
and
with
demonize
saying-
an
and
entire. Shut the fuck up for 2 seconds and listen. That's your problem. You don't fucking listen, and you don't understand anything. You just look at the world from your own perspective. You're fucking wrong. Okay? Because most women are not promiscuous hoes like you getting fucked on the internet. All right? So I'm telling you what it really is. Men don't want hoes, just like women don't want broke boys that are losers. That's a standard that most people agree on.
Shalom. I would like to give our honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Bahashem Rakakudash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sister Akim, pushing this word across the 4 corners of the world. Just another news update through the spirit, the power, and the vibration of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh. And I have an article from Infowars.com, and the title says, "Has Feminism and Hoeflation Destroyed Dating in the West?" And this article was published on January the 1st, 2024. And it says, it's a problem in the Western world that is rarely discussed in the media beyond puff piece articles and glancing posts that avoid connecting the dots. The precipitous decline of dating, committed relationships, and marriage, along with a flatline in population in the past couple decades in the U.S., is treated as a novelty issue rather than a threat to the stability of civilization that it actually is. History shows that without the traditional family structure, numerous ugly societal consequences follow. One could argue, though, that the situation is far worse than that. We may be heading into a future where families become a novelty, and many argue that the root cause is feminism and the hyperinflated delusions of progressive women. And as you should know, feminism was one of those many diabolical tools or devices that the elites of this world created. And the elites I'm referring to are from the tabernacle of Edom, who are the so-called Caucasian race in today's time. And since I mentioned that, and let's get right quick, Revelation 17:2, with whom the kings of the earth, again referring to the elites of Esau Edom, have committed fornication. And fornication within the Greek right here goes into porneia or pornea, where you get the word porn from. And that goes into that spiritual adultery or adultery itself. Idolatry, lesbianism, homosexuality, bestiality, pedophilia, all these wayward doctrines, philosophies, and ideologies, pretty much anything outside the righteous standard of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh. So with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And according to Jeremiah 51:7, it refers to Babylon, aka America, that had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. And that golden cup represents that type of influence and impact that America has upon these other nations. And what's inside that golden cup? That Babylonian wine, which had spiritually intoxicated and had made all the earth drunken. And one of those many ingredients within that Babylonian wine is feminism. So back again within Revelation 17:2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Jump down to verse 4. And the woman, referring to America, was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And so many things and aspects can go within that Babylonian cup. Like again, feminism, whoredom, adultery, idolatry, Esau's science, his technology, his religions, his economics, his thought processes, his so-called culture or way of life, which all of that totals up to be his westernization. And as it's stated right here, which is full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. All of those things I just mentioned causes moral degeneration, which is something that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua looked at as detestable or loathsome. It's despicable. All right, so back to the article. In order to understand the problem, we have to look at the stats. More than 50% of American women are still childless by age 30. By age 35, fertility goes into steep decline, with women having a 15% a chance of becoming pregnant and a less than 5% chance of motherhood at age 40, meaning the best window of opportunity for women to find a compatible partner and build a family is in their 20s. And that would be considered as your golden age. And back in the ancient world, when a woman passes her flower, which means have a menstrual cycle, she's into womanhood. And that can happen at the ages of 9, 10, 11, and 12. But of course, that type of ideology of a young woman passing her flower at that particular age is considered as taboo. Because back in the ancient world, women had children at a very young age. Of course, after they passed their flower. So within this modern world, a woman's golden years for having children is in her early 20s. And this is the age where a lot of the women within the family, especially coming from a so-called Black or Latino household, the women in their family tell these young women, play the field, live your life for a little, have some fun, go to college and get your money. And that evil type of behavior and culture has really destroyed a lot of the women of our nation. So feminists argue, though, that this is the time in a woman's life when they should be building a career and having fun. There you go. Family life, they say, is an artificial prison created by the patriarchy in order to oppress the fairer sex. Corporate media and Hollywood entertainment often reinforce this narrative and encourage unrealistic life goals. And what race or group of people run this corporate media or this Hollywood entertainment? The hierarchy of Esau Edom. And according to the Holy Scriptures, they are considered as the god of this world. And that takes me right to 2 Corinthians 4:4. In whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not. So the God of this world is referring to the hierarchy of Esau Edom. The ones who conjure up these diabolical agendas, plans, thought processes, this so-called way of life, and having the masses of people to believe this is acceptable. So therefore he has darkened your minds, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Yahushua, who is the image of the Heavenly Father Yahweh, should shine unto them. And that them he's going to shine unto is the elect of the nation of Israel, who is not going to take pursuit after the confusion and the madness that's currently going on within this world. All right, so back to the article, it says, the propaganda has generated what many refer to as the female happiness paradox. Surveys show that increased power, job access, and responsibility for women in society since the 1970s has also led to a diametrically opposed decline in overall happiness for those same women. The correlation suggests the exact opposite of what feminism originally promised, and that the ideology has been a net negative. And you have so many countless of videos in today's time of these modern women uploading videos on these different social media sites and complaining about being alone, or how they have been lied to by this false ideology or philosophy by the name of feminism. So a lot of them are finding out within these latter times that feminism has miserably failed them. And that concept goes all the way back onto the garden, where that serpent beguiled Eve. He charmed her. He ran game upon her. and she was liking what she was hearing. Yeah, you're going to be strong, you're going to be independent, and you're going to be uplifted within this world. So a lot of these so-called modern women are finding out that the grass is not so much greener on the other side. And there's so many videos in today's time that they are complaining miserably. And that's good for them. And years ago, Aaron Russo, he was a film director and a political activist. And he had an interview with Alex Jones. And he stated that he used to run with Nick Rockefeller and how they became real close associates. And he brought out how Nick Rockefeller asked him, like, what do you think about the women's liberation movement? So Aaron Russo gave his opinion of what he thought the so-called women's rights movement was all about. And he stated that Nick Rockefeller laughed him to scorn and said, "You're a fool." And he explained to Aaron Russo how this women's rights liberation movement was only set to get the children out the household at a young age so they could be easily indoctrinated by this food system. Then by having the women leave from their homes and being pushed out there to the workforce, that way they could be able to tax everybody that's working within the US population. This so-called women's rights liberation movement wasn't no agenda for the betterment of women. All right, so it says right here, though some would argue that a general decline in economic conditions is the real cause, surveys show that women have suffered a far more pronounced drop in happiness compared to men. And that's because you're being disobedient to your God-given natural role by being homemakers or being the natural caregivers in the house. Because this thing that we call life is nothing but the movie of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And by you steering away from your natural divine order, it's going to cause a lot of confusion. And that's why the majority of the modern women are unhappy. And that takes me to Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh had created a new thing in the earth. A woman should compass a man. And that's self-explanatory. And you see within this day of time of this biblical prophecy is more magnified. Of the weaker vessel having a more power, upliftment, resources, stability, success, stability than ever before. However, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai are causing a thorn in these modern women's sides. And that's by your being unhappy. You are not playing your natural or divine order. Okay, so back to the article. For men, the reaction has been back away from the dating scene and the double standards involved. Over 63% of men under the age of 30 are now single. That's up from 51% in 2019. The majority of single men say this is by choice and that they are seeking to avoid relationships altogether. Why? The consensus appears to be that modern Western women cost too much money and cause too much trouble. Then on top of that, they have all of these selfish and delusional dating expectations. Like here you are, you have multiple kids, and in a lot of cases they be by multiple men, like different fathers. Then you are demanding they have to make over 6 figures, has to be over 6 feet tall, and has to have a 6-pack. But here you are, you being overweight, you're masculine, you're combative, you're very proudful. So a lot of these modern men are coming to their senses, and instead of wasting their time, money, and resources, they're like, hey, I'd rather be by myself, and rightfully so. All right, and it says, fear of failed marriage is one aspect that has the younger generation of men on edge, with family courts still largely in favor of women in divorce settlements and child custody. This is one reason why marriage rates have declined by 60% since the 1970s. However, the obstacles go well beyond divorce and into a new culture of female entitlement. The word on the street is hoeflation. The dramatic increase in costs for men today to maintain a relationship with a woman while the quality of women continues to go down. That is to say, it is an increase in female expectations versus what they bring to the table in a relationship. In other words, women of the past used to have something to offer beyond sexual companionship, from greater femininity, greater potential for motherhood, less combativeness and narcissism, as well as a superior ability to raise children and maintain a home. According to the book of Titus, chapter 2, verses 4-5, it goes into about how the aged women should teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, and to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands. And where you push out that message in today's time, it's considered as taboo, or you feel that you're enslaved. And it says, such traits are highly attracted to men even after 60 years of widespread feminism, but are seen as non-existent among women under 30 in 2023. I'm gonna jump on down. It says right here, a recent viral trend on social media in which women made a list of restaurants that they will refuse to eat at on a first date exemplifies a concept of hoeflation. The Cheesecake Factory in particular was consistently mentioned as a red flag for cheap men. Spending up to $200 or more was presented as a bare minimum for a first date, and only 26% of women indicated they are willing to split the tab. First dates used to be an opportunity for men and women to decide if there's a chance for compatibility. Now progressive women expand great gestures of wealth and ambition, like Valentine's Day, but every day. Now progressive women expect grand gestures of wealth and ambition, like Valentine's Day, but every day. What feminism has done essentially is hyper-exaggerate women's natural inclination to seek out more productive men, while also hyper-exaggerating their sense of self-worth and making them insufferable. Women who have nothing to offer have been inculcated with delusions of grandeur. And to inculcate, that means to indoctrinate. Again, which traces back to 2 Corinthians 4:4, how the God of this world had blinded the minds of them. And by these modern women believing into this sinister concept by the name of feminism, are trying to forward this sex-neutral society, nowadays women are finding themselves with 2 full-time jobs by working out there within the workforce and also going back home to tend to your children. That's exactly why a lot of these modern women who subscribe to that wicked philosophy or ideology are miserable. And it says right here, so much that the question, what do you bring to the table, is sneered at. I am the table is their response. There is no cure for this level of narcissism except hitting rock bottom, which is an outcome that Western women and society as a whole are swiftly approaching. And truthfully, that's the reality of America, known as Babylon the Great according to the Holy Scriptures. And that takes me right to Isaiah 24:10. The city of confusion is broken down. And the city of confusion is referencing to America, Babylon the Great. And the Hebrew word for Babylon is Babal, which means chaos, disorder, or confusion. And according to 1 Corinthians 14 verse 33, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai are not the authors of confusion. So the city of confusion is broken down, and it's being broken down from an economical aspect, a moral aspect, a spiritual aspect, and just from the title of this article, a dating aspect as well. And you think about it in some sense, that's really infusing the prophecy about the love of many shall wax cold. And that's because a lot of these modern men are getting sick and tired of these modern women, especially with their delusional dating expectations. So the city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up that no man may come in. And also let's get Revelation 18:23. And the light of a candle should shine no more at all in thee. And that light of a candle can be referencing to the golden age or the golden years of America. Or America being that beacon of light, having that type of influence or impact upon these other nations. It's vastly diminishing nowadays. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai are dimming the lights upon this place. And it's about to be soon taken off the world stage. Where all these different concepts or ideologies once had a hold on people, and now they're finding out it was all BS. For example, this feminism agenda, where it has caused great whoredom. And the voice of the bridegroom and the bride should be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And 2 of those components that make up some of the sorceries within America, feminism and hoeflation, or whoredom. So that concludes the lesson right here through the Spirit. Has feminism and hoeflation destroyed dating in the West? And I'm very confident to answer that. And the answer is yes. So with that, hopefully you all was edified. You all stay strong. Keep pushing forward. Shalom.